Okay, I'm back. So we were going to see if we can make some more railings here. So I'll get a rough length here off of this, and there's going to be a couple bends, so I think it's safe to have, say I'm going to cut that about there. So I'm just going to rough out a shape and get a couple, see if I get some kind of a length here. Okay, yeah, I think we're okay. So again, lightly take pieces off. Make sure you cut through the insulation, but try not to nick the copper. We don't want to do that. You can also save these if you want. They're not bad to have a few, especially if the wire gauge is a little bit bigger. You can use these in some tricky little spots. Manufacturers use some really thin copper wire to connect electric couplers, so on and so forth. It's almost like a human hair type of wire, and they leave them bare, but they put a sleeve over them to protect them from shorting out. These make good sleeves for some of those really small wires on automatic couplers. So I'm kind of a hoarder when it comes to stuff like that. I find uses for a lot of things. I don't throw a lot away. So just something to chat about while we're stripping wire. Not everything's waste. And like I said, if you've ever fixed some couplers with the real fine wires that they have on them, you'll find yourself looking for something to shield that with. These make good insulators for those real fine wires. Amongst other things, there's probably other uses for those that I haven't even come up with. So if somebody out there has some other uses for that, hey, send me an email. Let me know what that is. I'd like to figure that out as well. Let's see if we can pull this off from one end to the other here. See if we can pull that off there. Oh, there we go. It's coming. Oh, yeah, there we go. So that's a nice big piece there. Okay, so I think we have enough. We'll start at the easy end. How's that? We can see what we got there. We're gonna go with something like that. So that's just about a 90. So we want to bend just about a 90. You can always unbend it a little. And we come out straight for a little bit. Now, there's something to, if you want to get these really straight right off the bat, some things I always have done in the past is while the insulation's on, you could take this to your vise or your anvil and kind of just tap on it, kind of flatten it out, try to get it as straight as you can, so when you start, even though you're putting bends in it, start it out as straight as you can, and then the bends look a little better. So we're going to have a bend up about here at a slight angle, so try to catch it right at, and try to keep everything parallel as much as you can. Let's see what we got so far. Not too bad, not too bad. This is a little bit, this should be level. If it's on the deck, you want it to be level. That's going to be coming right out of the front deck. So we want that to be level. And if you have a little bend in that, I use my lineman's, use the very tip. Use the very tip. You can see what this will do. This is going to flatten that out. See, that's going to make that straight. So you want to keep things as parallel as possible to level and to the angles that you're using. So we're pretty good so far. So now we have another bend. Always try to lay on top of this. Now I can see I got a little bit of a hook to it, so we want to bring that back to. Okay, so we got to turn here back to level, about right there. That you can almost bend with your thumb. So let's see what we've got going here. All right, so we're going to open that back up. We're getting closer and closer. So we want to bend this up a little bit. And this out a little bit. Okay. So this will need to go down a little bit. All right, so we're getting there. We can sweeten up these little turns after we get the base turn applied. So we're about here, and we have something like that. Let's see what this does. Okay, I think we need to just take that back in. If you need to undo, put it in the grooves, top and bottom of your alignments. Squeeze gently to try to take that bend out as much as you can, for you can get the better location on where that is. All right, so we're going to be approximately there. Okay. All right, so we're getting a little bit better there. So we want to straighten this the old bend out of it. We got that, and that. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 bends so far. So now this one's a little bit open or closed too much. We want to open it a little bit, get back to where the next bend's going to be, which is about right here. So kind of grab it right on the inside part of the bend and hold firmly, bend that down a little bit, and let's see where we're at so far. So we're getting a little bit too short here. So we want to take this bend, again, I want to take it out. So I'm going to get that in my alignment in the grooves this time and squeeze it gently to kind of flatten that out. Then get it outside the grooves, squeeze it again, and try to get that back to straight. So we're going to take that bend and do that bend over. We're going to do it over again. So again, let me see here. We are about right there. Try to keep it parallel, so when you bend it, you're coming in the same direction in a straight line of what you have made so far. Good. All right, so a little bit much. We want to take that out of there. So we have a rough shape bent. I think we're pretty good as far as the lengths of each bend. I think now we just got to focus on the angles and the turns to make sure that we are enough or too much, and straighten those out. So once these go in there, if you remember how this looks, you'll have that bend up on top, that bend down there, and this one goes into the deck of the steam chest. And obviously this is a level, typically a level spot, and then a level spot. So again, working with wire, it's not a straight exact science. It takes a little manipulating to get those straight. You might want to set that down. You want to make sure that it sits kind of flat, like that one sits nice and flat. Now, some of these come on these locomotives. They're not in best shape either. They're bent, they're kinked. They've had a lot of life over the 80 years or so. But all in all, once you get these in place, and once you get the stanchions into the sides of the boiler holding these in place, that will help keep your shape. And so that one, I think it's pretty good. It's probably a little long here. We can cut some of this off, obviously, just a smidgen. Just cut it off. Then what I like to do is I'll steel wool this, get any little marks from the cutter or from the bend from the lineman pliers or whatever, get those cleaned off, and then I take a file. I have a fine file, and what I'll do is, let me wipe this off a little bit, get some of the debris from the last job off of that, and then I will take these ends and just kind of work them over or run them around a little bit on this file, and what that does is kind of take the sharp points, edges off. You want to round that best you can, because you will be sticking your fingers down under there to make sure it goes in place. There, see, it's kind of round now. Same even with this end. Someday you'll be taking it off or putting it in. And also, as you're putting it through the holes in the decks and the holes through the cab, you don't want a sharp edge like a knife, obviously, because that'll scratch up your paint trying to get it into the hole. You want this as smooth as possible, so when you're sticking it in through this hole in the cab, you're not scratching that up. Same with the deck. You don't want to have a sharp edge taking care of that and scratching up that deck. So we have these two pieces done. I have to make another one of those, and we'll have those done. And what I'll use with these, I have brass stanchions in my parts bins. I have probably enough for this one. I'll do in brass. Sometimes nickel, nice nickel ones look good with the scheme. Depends on the customer. I've had a couple people ask for black. I've had people ask for black railings that goes with the gold. I mean, there's a lot of combinations. A lot of people say, hey, the guy, he restores trains, but he doesn't use these Lionel colors. Yeah, I know, I don't. Rarely do I put anything back the way it came, because Lionel had, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 colors, and probably half of them were pretty ugly, pretty drab. They're olive green, they're peacock green, and they're apple green, and they're orange. Now this was gunmetal. It was pretty scratched up. It was pretty bad shape as a gunmetal engine and tender. So it had to be stripped and repainted or to be restored anyway. And like I said, it's for a customer who asked if he could have a color combination that he saw on one of my sites. And I said, sure, we can do that. So this is going back black, even though it's not the Lionel black. This is a powder-coated semi-gloss black, and so is these parts. And this is just powder coat gold. I think that's all the color, the name of the color is. So again, I'm just debating. This doesn't look as much copper as it could or should. Let me see here. What else do I have? I think I have a couple more of these. Is one of these more coppery? Ah, yeah, I think this one's more copper. This one's a little misshapen, but I think that one looks better. These look a little, it's hard to tell when they're dirty, like pennies. You don't know what the penny's going to look like until you actually clean it and shine it. This one might be a little bit better of a fit. And you can see it's missing a tab. Not a big deal. I've been fixing tabs on these a long time. So we'll have to fix another one. So I'll do that. I think I'm going to swap these out. Even though I fixed tab on here, I'll put a tab on that one. I think the color match for the boiler tops are better. They're not going to be perfect. I mean, again, the customer knows that, you know, we're working with merchandise here that's, I think this was made in like 1933, 34, 35. So, you know, are they 80 some years old? Going on 90 or whatever. So that's what I'm doing here. And as I continue to put things up together, I will add it to the video. But for now, I have to take a break and take care of some other things real quick. Then I'll be back to this shortly. Thanks for watching. And again, send me some emails, send me some comments. MT.TrainRestorations@gmail.com. This is Mark saying bye for now.